I don't think this is gonna fit. Hey everybody, we're back on the Super Deluxe 1941 Harley-Davidson FL. Big day here at the museum. We're gonna be working on one of the most crucial parts of the entire bike, and if we get lucky, we just might be able to set the engine in the frame. Now, we've been working on this bike for maybe 3 or 4 months right now. It's the bike you guys voted on, the Cruiser Green bike, and the chassis is coming along fantastic. I wanted to kind of catch you guys up on the progress that we made so far. John and I just gotten the paint back. Dang, dude! And since then, it's really been focused just on the engine. We've been chipping away at some small other components. We've got our brakes rebuilt, hubs rebuilt, rims are out at chrome, handlebars go chrome. We've got the squash birds, emblems. They need a little bit of freshening up, so we're gonna send these out, get them stripped, re-chrome plated. Down here we've got shifter gate, and shifter gets chromed. The rear stand was chromed. The dash, cat eye dash gets chromed. Headlight, tail light, headlight bezel, exhaust. Now, 1941, they had a chrome package, a deluxe solo package. This bike had even more than that. So some of the pieces that came black in that deluxe solo package on this bike were chromed. We're gonna go ahead and continue with the trend, keep this thing super deluxe. Now this bike had a chrome primary cover. Now it's a little crusty on the outside, the inside, remarkable. So we're gonna go ahead and chrome the primary, battery lid, distributor cap. So I've got a lot of the other components though on this bike moving forward. The chassis coming together. Next time we film, hopefully we'll be lacing up wheels and putting this thing on some rubber so we can roll it around. Back over to the engine, guys. We're gonna be bolting the cam cover on and bolting the cylinders on, but first I want to take you through some of the stuff that makes this 1941 engine so special. It's your first year for 74 cubic inches. Now in 1941, when they debuted that new displacement, the engine cases were still a little bit maybe under strength. You know, they could have been stronger. They always crack right in here. These short rib cases are kind of definitive of your early knuckleheads. You see the short ribs here. In 1942, they extended these ribs all the way up to the top of the engine case there. Just a stronger setup. So to find a true, what we call a short rib 74 cubic inch motor is very, very rare today. This one comes from right at the end of the 1941 production, which kind of leads me into one of the next neat features of this engine, the white lifter blocks and oil pump. Normally these were painted silver. It was always thought in 1942 they began using white lifter blocks because silver paint just became difficult to get during wartime. What we found with this engine, it still had white lifter blocks and white oil pumps. So that's all going back together. Now, I just got a ton of stuff back from our polisher, original cam cover to this engine. We got the rocker boxes back, chrome knuckle nuts, rocker arms have been all cleaned up, and one of the reasons I assembled this, or kind of pre-assembled this, was to set up some of the crucial tolerances. So what we got right here is rocker arm end play. It's crucial to how your engine runs. It's crucial to the noise that it makes or doesn't make. These are set up right around 8 to 10 thousandths of an inch is right where I like to keep these, and these are kind of right in place, so I'm quite happy about how that's going to come out. We're waiting on a couple shims, a couple seals, and some valve guides, and we'll be slapping these heads together and bolting them on the bike. So inside the cam cover here, we've used all original gears with the exception of the cam. All right, let's double check that we're timed properly here on a knucklehead. It's really pretty straightforward stuff. So inside of the cam chest here, we've got oil pump drive gear way inside. Spiral gear runs the oil pump. Next is your pinion gear. It's spring loaded here in front of that oil pump drive gear. Over this side, your breather gear. That's what allows the engine to displace crankcase pressure, but at the same time, this gear right here was the genius that Harley-Davidson incorporated to operate their circulating oil system. So this gear uses crankcase pressure to pump oil to all moving parts of the engine, circulate it throughout, collect it down in the lower end of the engine or in the sip cavity, and then shoot it back to the oil tank. So between the oil pump right here on the outside and this breather gear, this is revolutionary stuff from Harley-Davidson. So it's what made everybody's bike what it is today. So we start with the pinion gear and the breather gear. There's timing marks on each. Now what we're looking for, in fact, the pinion gear, there's 2 timing marks. You've got to time it with the cam and you time it with the circuit breaker drive gear. This gear here drives your circuit breaker. We don't have the circuit breaker with us today. I'm waiting on some plating, so we'll get her bolted in there here shortly. But timing gear on the circuit breaker drive gear, timing on the pinion gear, timing mark that sets you up for the cam. And then the cam itself has 2 timing marks. You see the dots for the breather gear and the pinion gear. So we're gonna get this thing bolted in. Now I've already set the cam end play with this cam cover before it was all polished up. Ought to be quick and easy to get this finished. Cam cover bolted on, and that lower end will be a wrap. Bingo. Okay, see. Lined up, lined up, lined up. Oh yeah. There we are. Let's see how she spins. Oh, amazing. Spins the same with the cover on as it does the cover off, which doesn't happen that often. Now these are very, very special cylinders, 1941 only. Normally there's a casting number around the bottom of the cylinder somewhere on a knucklehead cylinder. In 1941 they put it in on the bore of the cylinder instead of on the base, and then machined it away when they made room for those base nuts. So very difficult to find cylinders. These were 10 over. When we got them, we cleaned them up at 20 over. So 74 cubic inch cylinder, you're good until about 40. After that, it gets a little bit thin. So we got plenty of meat, at least 2 more rebuilds if we ever needed to. Now this thing will see a lot of service, and I don't know if it'll ever need to get rebuilt. So the first knucklehead I ever built, my dad helped me from start to finish. It was my 1938 EL. We finished the bike, immediately took it out to the Antique Motorcycle Run in Death Valley, California. Put on hundreds of miles, had a ton of fun. My dad ended up actually blowing the bike up on the last day. Kind of surprised us all, and loaded that thing back in the trailer. Got home days later, about 10 at night, rolled it into the shop, immediately started working on it, and we had it running by the next morning. That first experience riding that bike across the desert just solidified my love for old bikes, really taught me what this was all about, and at the same time, it showed me these things are rebuildable. They're made to be put back together. So you break it, you fix it, you ride it, you break it, you fix it, you ride it again. Oh yeah. It was way up there. Higher compression, the 74s were than the 61s. That beautiful crosshatch in the cylinders. Wow. So what we want to do, we'll go ahead and bolt this sucker in. I'll get the top end covered in a minute. All right. Let's see there. Yes. It is good. This is good, Ja. Little wiggle. Oh my God, it's like it all belongs together. Got all of our bolts dropped in. Next step for us, we're gonna get this engine tightened up and fix up the drive line here. So I've still got a rear brake drum to rebuild. The trans is done. We've had that done for quite some time. So next, we're gonna tighten down our transmission sprocket nut, bolt on the inner primary, set up our drive line. All the while, we'll be waiting for those parts for the heads, and we can get all of that stuff sorted. get that head, the heads finished up, the engine finished, and we ought to be rocking on this 1941 Cruiser Green Super Deluxe Harley-Davidson Model FL. So just looks awesome. That gloss black paint, beautiful. The white with the blue, I mean, it just sets it off. It's a really great color combination. A lot of work left to do, but we made some great progress. We got, you know, get the chrome done, lace the wheels, set up the drive line. Gosh, of course we got to finish our heads, wiring, plumb the handlebars, set up all the trim, another 100 hours or so, and this thing will be running down the road. First year Model FL 1941. Super Deluxe in Cruiser Green. So guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to be bringing you more programming on this bike, getting it all wrapped up, bringing it to the next phase. We've got some killer new projects to reveal here. Stay tuned. Make sure you tune in to our new channel, WTT Archives, over at Wheels Through Time Archives. How this place was built. There's hundreds of shows that we're going to be putting on there from the past 20 years of Wheels Through Time here in Maggie Valley. So make sure you tune in. Head over to wheelsthroughtime.com. Check out our raffle. The drawing is coming up, guys. 1937 Harley-Davidson Knucklehead. We're going to be giving that bike away in no time. Get your tickets. Thanks for tuning in.